In Star Wars, have you ever wondered why there's no music in the future? Like, all you ever, Millennium Falcon doesn't have a radio player?
Well, there was that band in the cantina.
Oh.
Remember that band?
Yeah, do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Hey, I have looked this up before. That band has a name.
No.
They're called Figural Dan and the Modal Nodes. And get this.
That's a mouthful.
I'm not kidding. You can go look this up. The genre of music they play is called jizz.
No. A cocktail, a little candle, and some sweet, sweet jizz.
Yeah. Well, of all the jizz joints in the world, Luke happened to walk into that one.
I know. And what do they have, like DVDs, CDs they're handing out? And so Han picks them up and went into the Millennium Falcon, and Chewie's like sitting back like, this is the life.
Oh, I think we're on, Dane.
We are.
Everybody, this is Dane.
This is JR.
And we are
the Cult Lords.
We're coming to you today from our cult bunker, usually reserved for heads of state. But today we will be your designated survivors, hoping to release your mind as we talk everything music, pop culture, cocktails, and our favorite movies.
So today we're going to be reviewing a movie that came out this summer. The Green Knight. This particular Blu-ray is straight from JR's vault.
Yes, be careful with that, Dane.
Ooh, sorry.
This Blu-ray was just released 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
Brand new, okay? But I tell you what, viewers, you can find out how you can win a copy of this yourself. At the end of our review, we'll tell you what you need to do to win a copy of The Green Knight that we will send to you. And guess what? You can handle it any way you want to.
It does come with white glove service, though.
Well, who knows? So, viewers, as you know from episode 1 of The Cult Lords, oh, look at this thing. Maybe we can pair this with a drink that you're going to pour us today. What are we drinking?
Well, this fantastic beverage, Johnnie Walker Green Label, keeping with the green theme. This was created in 1920. The bottle shape was in 1920. The bottle is in the middle range of the Johnnie Walker line, with red at the bottom and the most expensive but so smooth blue at the top. It's the first of the line that actually comes with a cork in it. But the other interesting thing, this is a blended malt, so 4 single malts put together. Just one of the lovely beverages coming from the British Isles.
The British Isles? This comes from the British Isles?
Yeah, it's a Scotch. That's how it gets that name.
I always thought this was an American whiskey, I'll be honest with you.
Well, I can see that. It's so common on every, bar menu.
Well, because you know what? You have there's a shot called the Three Wise Men, where you have Jack, Jim, and Johnny, right? Mm-hmm. And so Jack and Jim are obviously 2 American whiskeys. I thought Johnny was another.
Hey, you didn't know they had a Scotsman mixed in there too.
Well,
everything's better with a Scotsman.
I just drink what they pour me. Good apple, by the way.
And on the note about pouring, let's get right to it. Will the fair lady please pour us some?
Fair lady!
Lords and ladies, knights and squires, delight in Johnnie Walker's 7 Scotches. Smack in the midst is Green Label, a blended malt Scotch whisky, which legally means single malt whiskies from different distilleries. Like our Green Knight, it disappeared for a spell. 4 years until brought back in 2016. Matured for 15 years, released at 86 proof, it has a depth of flavor that will cleave your enemy in two.
Thanks, Fair Maiden.
Thank you, Lady Berlac.
Yes. All right.
Let it breathe a little bit first. Yummy.
So, Dane, what's this rock in here?
Ah, you don't know what that is?
No.
That is a whiskey stone.
Oh.
These things are outstanding because you freeze them till they're obviously, they can't be frozen, but freeze them, put them in your whiskey. They cool the beverage down very quickly, and it puts no more water in, so you're still drinking an undiluted product.
I think I've passed a few whiskey stones in my time.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to don't want to eat the stone. You'll be doing an Elvis Presley. But what do you think?
I taste butterscotch.
All right,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Got little notes of sandalwood, some tobacco happening in there. This particular drink is very good with cigars because of that hint of tobacco in there. I recommend a Arturo Fuentes Gata Fire cigar. Yummy.
This is good. I've been noticing that there's been a lot of trailers out for upcoming movies lately. Have you noticed that?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah. It seems like there's a dearth of movies that have been sitting in the queue and they finally were released.
Well, you're exactly right. A lot of studios were sitting on movies during COVID, waiting for people to get back to the theaters, and now they're flooding the market with a lot of movies. Is there anything that you're looking forward to the most, do you think?
Definitely Batman. They finally got it right with this dark, gritty Batman. I mean, this one seems like originally we didn't think Pattinson was probably going to be doing. No. He didn't seem like the right actor for this, but seeing this, it
sparkly
just seems
vampire
perfect.
boy.
Yes, perfect. And of course, he's got a lot of heavy suit stuff, but still way better than the very first Batman, Michael Keaton, which should have been called the Joker, by the way.
Michael Keaton as the first Batman?
Yeah, he was in the first movie.
Oh, no. My first Batman is Adam West. This is who I grew up with. This is the first Batman, guys. Now, for those of you who want to troll and say there was a 1940s serial on TV, I wasn't alive to see that Batman, okay? This is my Batman.
All right.
Not Michael Keaton.
Touché.
He was good. He was good. Well, besides the Batman, there are other movies coming out, Dane. There's, here in November, there's The Eternals from Marvel, Ghostbuster Afterlife, and Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Raccoon City?
Yeah.
What was that got to do with it?
I take it just from you asking that you never played the video game.
No, never did play the video game. But
I play the video game on a PlayStation with my young brothers, and Raccoon City is the place where the lab was that released the virus.
Oh, that's right, that underground lab. I forgot it was called Raccoon City for whatever reason. But.
Yeah, well. It's, I've enjoyed some of them. The Vegas one was probably the best. Yeah, that
one was actually good. They kind of got repetitive after a while.
They did.
But that one was pretty good. So hopefully, high hopes for the new one.
Yeah. December, we've got Steven Spielberg remaking West Side Story. I'm sure you're off to see that
with ready to see that with my...
with your, your theater friends. Spider-Man No Way Home. And Matrix
Spider-Man movie.
Resurrections.
And that one, okay, I didn't realize that was coming out.
Yeah.
Didn't keep up with that.
Neo.
The first one was awesome, and then it kind of went it's downhill from there.
It's kind of funny you say that, because I saw an interview with Quentin Tarantino, and he was saying he was making a list of his best 10 movies of the last 30 years, I believe, since Pulp Fiction came out. And he actually has Matrix on his list, but he said it would have been number one if the other two movies didn't came out, because those ruined the whole Matrix mythology.
Right.
So
yeah, that first one was very special.
I can't wait to see Matrix. So in January, we've got Scream, another Scream.
Are they bringing back all the characters?
They are.
Unfortunately,
Courtney Cox, David Arquette, they're coming back.
Who's left? Everyone seems to keep turning into the murderer.
I don't know. And then also in January is Morbius and Jackass Forever.
Morbius?
Yeah. Do you know Morbius? Are you familiar with?
He's a comic book character, right?
Well, he's in the Marvel comic book realm, but he was actually starting off as a villain to Spider-Man. But then he kind of got his own series, became an anti-hero, kind of like a Punisher, a Wolverine, a Blade, something like that.
Okay.
And, so Jared Leto is playing Morbius.
Jared Leto, man. That guy must love the science fiction genre. I mean, you got him playing kind of like a creepy, technologically advanced Joker.
Yeah.
Then you got him playing a creepy, technology head of the Tyrell organization in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
And now he's doing this. So,
yeah, and he also has his own rock band called Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars. Let me get my Spider-Man going, which then turns into this.
Yeah, I actually like Mission to Mars. So, in February, we have Uncharted with Tom Holland, which is based on a video game. In March, back to the Batman. The Batman's coming out.
Definitely going to have to go see that one in the theater.
I do want to see that, but Dane, that might not be the top movie for you in March.
What? Is there's better than Batman?
Downton Abbey is coming out.
Oh, yes, Carson! Finally.
Carson? Well, I've never seen one minute of Downton Abbey.
He doesn't know what he's missing, folks.
I don't need to see a bunch of highfalutin British royals or whatever this thing is about. I have no idea what that's about. So in May, we kick off the summer season. We've got Doctor Strange in the multiverse.
Okay. Wait, it's not the metaverse?
No. That's Mark Zuckerberg's creation.
Zuckerberg.
So it's Doctor Strange in the multiverse. I do want to see that. I'm sure you cannot wait to go see Legally Blonde 3.
Oh, finally.
Reese Witherspoon is back.
No, it's okay. Actually, they were good movies.
Yeah.
She's a great actress.
But Dane, I have a dilemma for you.
I love movies that make you laugh.
I have a dilemma for you.
What?
Can you believe the studios are doing this? And I think they're playing chicken. I want to see who moves. But on the same day in May, 2 movies are coming out. And I want to know, if you had money to see one of them, which one do you choose? Do you see Top
Gun? Wow.
Maverick with Tom Cruise?
35 years and 4 years just to get it out the door?
Topless volleyball on the men, right? So can't wait to see that.
Motorcycles. I'm sure they're going to update all of that stuff.
Take my breath away. And then we've got on that same day.
This is a tough choice. Maverick versus
John Wick 4.
Oh, that one's easy. John Wick. That is the greatest series. Keanu Reeves, you are a god.
Oh, I'm Team Wick. I'm Team Wick right here. Team Wick. We're going to go see John Wick when that comes out.
Yep. Keep your body going, Keanu.
Yep.
We love you in the John Wick movies.
All right. So for June, middle summer, we've got Jurassic World, Chris Pratt.
Okay. Another one.
And we've got Transformers, another one. I wasn't a big fan of the comics in the 80s, or not the comics. Well, the comics and the cartoons.
The cartoon. What came first?
I think actually the cartoons came first, and then the comics.
The only thing I distinctly remember about the Transformer cartoon, it was very dark and gritty.
Yeah.
Which was completely contrary to most kid shows.
Yeah.
Right? But the movies have been great. The technology's awesome. I mean, it was one of those weird franchises where it got steadily better as it went along.
I do actually like some of the Transformer movies, and I love the one where they were on the moon or whatever. I don't know which one that was, but
Dark Side of the Moon, if I remember.
Dark Side of the Moon, that's right. And finally, the last month of the summer, rounding it out, we've got Black Adam.
Black Adam. No, that one I don't know. Who is that?
You don't know Black Adam?
No.
Another superhero movie.
Black Adder.
Yeah, no, it's out of the DC universe. Black Adam, another anti-hero.
Okay.
Started off as Shazam's foil, his villain, and then kind of, people loved him and gravitated to him, and so he became his own kind of hero and teamed up, actually became part of the Justice League later on. So
are they going to do it seriously or jokey?
Well, so who's cast as Black Adam?
No.
The Rock.
So it's jokey? He loves his humor.
That's what I'm afraid of, right? So, I love The Rock in a lot of things, but I think The Rock has, like, his hands in way too many things. You know what I mean? So,
too many irons in the forge, as they say.
So, but you know what? We'll give him a shot as Black Adam. We'll see how he does.
Okay.
And the final movie in July, Thor: Love and Thunder. It's
Love and Thunder. Is Chris Hemsworth going to be just throwing the locks back in full glory for all the ladies?
Well, I think he reunites with Padme. Excuse me.
No, that would definitely be
that would be a crossover,
major
right?
crossover. We're announcing it right now.
Yeah.
Major crossover event.
So Natalie
Star
Portman.
Wars.
Natalie Portman. I think he reunites with her, and then I think she becomes Lady Thor. I think she somehow becomes Lady Thor.
Thor.
I'm not a big Thor fan, so don't correct me on this if I'm wrong, or correct me on this if I'm wrong. But I think in the comics...
you mean this comic?
Oh, yeah. Out of your personal stash.
Lady Thor.
Yes, Lady Thor. So
That's what she's going to look like.
I think they're going to...
Padme is going to look like this.
I think they're going to pass the Thor mantle on to Natalie Portman, and she's going to become Lady Thor.
Okay, well, pretty cool looking. She's, she can easily do it. Great actress.
I'd rather have there's a version of Thor which is a frog. Did you see Loki, the TV show?
No, I did not get a chance to watch it yet.
Well, I won't say.
Don't say.
But
don't speak.
There's actually a version of Thor in the multiverse that's a frog.
Oh.
so there you have it.
Would have filled in great with the green theme.
Yeah.
Thor's going in that direction.
There you have it. We've run down a lot of the top movies that are coming out. So which one are you waiting for the most again out of all those?
Batman.
Me too. I want to see Batman. I want to see Robert Pattinson, what he's got. And I didn't believe in him to begin, but I've seen these trailers. If you want to see this trailer, go to get on YouTube. Search for Batman Trailer 2, and I'm telling you, this looks like a different Batman.
Yeah, man. We were talking about this earlier. The grittiness. There's a great scene where he's walking down the hallway and people are just full on,
and he's completely bulletproof.
Bulletproof. All the sparks everywhere. It looks so cool.
There's one way to get around that: shoot him in the face.
I don't know why criminals never think about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just go a little bit lower.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it looks great. I can't wait to see it. And that's some of the movies coming up. But when you look at that roster of movies, very, very superhero heavy.
That's true.
Are you getting superhero fatigue at all?
It does seem like that genre is getting played out. Like, theaters see it as the easy answer. But, to tell you the truth, it appeals to so many people. Superhero movies go to the old person, the young person. They keep cranking out great movies. Well, I can't fault them at that.
I wasn't alive back then, but if there's any viewers that were alive during the 50s and 60s, was there such thing as Western fatigue? Because everything was a Western back then, right?
Right.
You had Western movies with John Wayne and
Gunsmoke on TV.
Yeah, Kirk Douglas. You had Gunsmoke on TV, Bonanza, The Rifleman, all these, the Wild Wild West. There was so many Westerns going on.
I love that show, Wild Wild West.
Well, that one's cool. I actually own that entire
movie. Not so much, unfortunately.
Oh, horrible movie.
Yeah.
There's a funny story about that movie that Kevin Smith tells. Go Google that. Kevin Smith, Wild Wild West. Hilarious to watch that. So, I don't know if they got Western fatigue, but I still don't have superhero fatigue, even though there's a lot of superhero movies coming out. Mm-hmm. But it did get me to thinking, Dane, what is your favorite superhero of all time? Let's ponder for a second. All right, one of our superpowers is making things appear. We've got something in front of us here. We're going to go through our favorite superheroes of all time. Our top 8, and that's the Cult Lord's top 8.
Top 8, Infinity 8.
Why top 8, you ask? Because everybody does a top 10. That's so blasé. We want to do something different, so we chose top 8. So, top 8 superheroes of all time. Dana, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, specifically Leonardo.
Wow.
So I know most people would say, don't see that one coming, but the original comic had a much grittier, darker feel to it than the hodgepodge they put out later. So that's my number 8.
I never read those comics. All I think about is Vanilla Ice when I see that. So
Vanilla Ice?
he was in the movie.
Oh.
All right. So my number 8 superhero is Daredevil.
Oh, Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
I can see that.
As a kid, I thought, was he really the devil? No, he's not. He's a superhero called Daredevil. The man without fear. And the TV show on Netflix was pretty good, too. So, Daredevil, number 8 for me.
All right, number 7.
Number 7, what's your number 7?
James Bond.
James
Bond.
Superhero.
Yep, I put him in there. I mean, even though he doesn't have superpowers, which really isn't the full definition of a superhero, but man, this guy, through grit and determination and obviously all his special gadgets, always vanquishes the villain.
Yeah. I love James Bond. I didn't actually think of James Bond as a superhero, but hey, to each his own. Now, you said he doesn't have any special powers. This next guy doesn't have special powers for me, but he's a bad dude. The Punisher. Oh, yeah, the Punisher. Frank Castle. Once again, started off as a villain, then became the hero, the anti-hero. And once again, another Netflix show.
A great Netflix show. They
that
did a
was
great
really,
job.
really good.
Mm-hmm.
And out of those Netflix shows, I hear that they're bringing this one back. So, going to be part of the MCU.
I can understand that. John Berthenol, he's been doing a great job.
Shane from Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my number 6 we're on is Vampirella, who most people might not know who this is, but this is something that was created in, I think it was 1969, and she's actually from a planet of vampires.
Ooh.
But she's actually, so there's a lot of blood and guts, but she's a good person and always goes after the bad guy.
So I'm not familiar with Vampirella as the hero. Always see the covers, always attractive covers, but never read the actual.
Also
comic.
up there.
So my number 6 is Wolverine.
Oh,
yeah,
I can see that. That one's a good one.
I tell you what. He does have some special powers. His body has been encased with adamantium in a skeletal form. Has the claws that come out. I think Hugh Jackman did a great job.
God. They couldn't have got anybody else. He owns that character.
It was supposed to be Russell Crowe, and Russell Crowe turned it down. Thankfully.
Thankfully.
As much as I like Russell Crowe, nobody can
Not
beat
the
Hugh
right
Jackman.
guy for that movie.
Wolverine.
Okay, so my number, what are we on? 5? Ghost Rider.
Ooh, I thought about him. I did.
So another anti-hero hero guy. Johnny Blaze made a deal to save his wife and then is forever cursed. But strangely, the demon that comes out always seems to vanquish all the bad guys. So, anti-hero, but great motif, lots of motorcycles.
Yeah. Well, for me, growing up, there was nobody better than Spider-Man. And this is Spider-Man number 66, a 12-cent issue, the introduction of Mysterio. If you saw the last Spider-Man movie, Jake Gyllenhaal played Mysterio. Mm-hmm. That's a key right there. But anyways, love Spider-Man as a kid. Used to watch it on the Electric Company.
Okay. Well, we're going to have some repeats, of course. Daredevil is my next one, and a little lower on the list. But great character, great show.
Yep.
I mean, I love that show. There was a couple of cool scenes in that one where you watch it and it looks like they do the entire 15-minute thing in one take.
So, Dane, sometimes these comics like to take themes because you said Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze made a deal with the devil. Well, so did this superhero, Spawn. Oh, yeah, Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Oh, I'm working to complete my entire Spawn run. But Spawn also makes a deal with the devil to go after all the people that killed him and his family. And he had a lot of supernatural powers in the beginning. over the time of the story, he starts kind of losing those powers, and his suit has a symbiote suit that provides him a lot of the powers now. So,
well, this was just a little repeat again, Daredevil, but this one had Ghost Rider in it, so 2 for 1. But anyways, my next one.
Oh, okay.
My next one is Berserker. Berserker, if you can see it close.
A lot with a Keanu love.
Another
Tell
Keanu
them who Berserker is, because I
love.
guarantee 99% of the people do not know who Berserker is.
So this is a brand new one that just got created from a Kickstarter campaign that Keanu Reeves is producing it, writing it, not writing it, but I mean, he's got major impact. He's agreed to play it in any movie that gets made, and... Yep. So he's fully on board, fully invested, and the guy, I got to give it to him, he comes up with some great ideas. This is about an 800,000-year-old warrior that just cannot be killed.
Yeah.
So great one.
This is a comic series that just started in 2021.
This is number 4, special variant cover.
Yeah.
In case anyone really cares out there, but make sure you can see it.
All right, so my number 3 favorite superhero, when I saw this movie, man... It changed. I've watched the opening scene to the first movie at least 100 times, and that is Blade. Blade.
Oh, that's a cool cover.
It is a cool cover.
See that one.
So I am a huge Blade fan. I love vampires. I love, vampire genre to begin with. So now you've got this Daywalker who's half vampire, half human, and he's out there hunting vampires. And then Wesley Snipes did just such an awesome job in the Blade series. Now they've got a new Blade series coming out. It's going to be, what's his name? I can't think of it. It starts with an M. We've seen him in a bunch of other movies. Can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank, but there's going to be.
You got to give me another movie.
There's going to be a Blade series. He was in the Luke Cage series. He played the gang. Did you see Luke Cage on Netflix?
Only like a few of them.
He was the gangster leader. So, but he's going to be playing Blade. So, all
right. Well, it sounds good.
Yep.
We'll put his name up here after, just so we don't cover it. So I'm on number 2 now. Everyone's probably favorite, Batman.
Batman at number 2.
And this Batman, by the way, first edition, Dark Knight edition, that was Frank Miller's outstanding foray into the Batman genre, where he had major impact on obviously the artwork, but also on the storyline.
Love Frank Miller.
Batman came back after being gone for 10 years. Yep. He's 50 right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, great one.
Oh, yeah, that's a great series. And they're going to run this movie sometime. It's kind of like the Old Man Logan movie that, we just saw with Wolverine being an older person. Same thing with that series.
Yep.
So my number 2... This used to be my favorite superhero growing up as a kid, but he's now number 2 because...
Who can it be?
It is... Bam!
Bam.
Captain America!
The Cap!
The Cap! Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, I wanted that shield so bad so I could throw it around and do Captain America kind of things. And, the fact that he got to fight Hitler back in World War II and now is fighting, now. I mean, who can say that?
Right.
Captain America.
Awesome, and, another set of great movies. Okay, we're on number 1.
Number 1, your favorite superhero.
Number 1, can you guess? It is Conan the Barbarian.
Oh.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Howard the Duck. I'm sorry.
No. He was number 11. He didn't make the cut.
Okay.
But this is first edition Conan when it first got released, Savage Sword. Outstanding, book series written by Howard, what's his name? I forgot. Was it Howard? I can't remember his name, but started it in like 1932. I know, we're forgetting names.
Yeah, we're forgetting names. So... I love Conan.
Robert E. Howard, that's what it was.
I love Conan.
Not Ron Howard.
I love Conan, and I was introduced to Conan by, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger as a kid. So I love Conan.
That was first movie was awesome.
Not in my top 8, unfortunately. My number 1, replacing Captain America, it is the Batman. Batman is the best superhero. It doesn't have any superpowers. Just
Tactically, no.
Nope. Just has his wits,
Emotional turmoil.
his physique. He's a master of the martial arts, and then he's got his money with all of his gadgets. And so Batman also, by the way, has the best, hands down, rogue gallery of villains. Nobody can match the Batman's villains. So that is my number one superhero.
So if only a few more of these billionaires in the world would take on the villains,
I know.
the world would be a much better place.
But you think Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, you think they're out there fighting crime?
No.
No. We've talked a lot about superheroes today. Some people think superheroes are a new phenomenon. But actually, the Arthurian legends that were told over 1,000 years ago and were written into poems and shared, those were the superheroes of that time. Mm-hmm. And so that brings us to our movie, The Green Knight. Now, this is about one of King Arthur's knights, Sir Gawain.
Go on.
Gawain. I'll go on.
Oh, go on.
So, and it is funny, in the movie, they do call him a Gawain.
They're like,
I went and Googled, the pronunciation, and it is Gawain. So, director is making his own sort of, kind of cuts to it or whatever. But, it made me wonder, what recollections do you have of King Arthur? Did you read any of the books or the tales, or did you see any movies, growing up
well,
about
for
King
me,
Arthur?
it was The Sword and the Stone, but that was the Disney one. And then, that's the one that always, resonated with me as a kid. We had those old Disney follow-along record books, and then you'd listen. Those were awesome. My favorite was Robin Hood. But good.
Haunted Mansion is the best.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so, and then, as you grew up, you had, the Worldwide Disney Encyclopedia set, or, some other book maybe you found that was more pictures versus the actual, poems and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, so you didn't watch any movies with King Arthur? Did you ever see Excalibur?
Oh, well, you said as a kid. I wasn't watching Excalibur as a kid. Come on.
I said as a kid or growing up. Well,
yeah.
See, I was fortunate enough that my parents took me to go see rated R movies at 11 years old, and I saw Excalibur in the theater as an 11-year-old, because that was in 81.
Right. Yeah. No, I didn't see it till way later. But yes, Excalibur was awesome. And of course, who can forget Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
What is your quest, Dana?
Answer me these questions, 3.
Well, I loved Excalibur. That was an all-time favorite of mine.
And a little tidbit that's weird about it? You kind of think that Monty Python was influenced by Excalibur, but it's the other way around. The Excalibur director was highly influenced by the way Monty Python crafted that entire movie with the creepy smoke and all that. And another weird fact, Led Zeppelin produced Holy Grail.
At least in the movie Excalibur, they had real horses and not coconuts. So there was other movies, though, besides that I remember. Did you see in the 90s First Knight with Sean Connery as King Arthur?
I do remember that.
Richard Gere as Sir Lancelot. It was an okay movie. Then came King Arthur with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley. Did you see that one?
No.
It was not that good, to be honest with you. They, the director took it in a different kind of direction. But I actually did like the next one that I was talking about, or thinking about. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword with Charlie Hunman. You know Charlie Hunman?
No, who's that?
Oh, he plays Jax in
in the superhero movie?
No. In the motorcycle TV show. Gosh. Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy. He plays, and he's also in Pacific Rim. And then I don't know if you saw the newest movie, The Gentleman, with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
He was in that too. So,
okay.
Yeah, that was a good one. So, yeah, plenty of Knights.
Yeah, movies. But you missed one on that list if you're done.
What's that one?
Another classic, A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale.
That one was so well done. The perfect intro of rock music with jousting, kind of like the Middle Ages of the WWE.
Well, that's not actually a King Arthur legend, but it is a Knights movie. But, you know, to see jousting...
Green Knight.
Jousting, to see Arthurian legend.
Yeah.
So to see, you know, Knights jousting to AC/DC... I mean, once again,
Can't beat that.
You gotta love the directors.
Right.
You
Heath
know.
Ledger.
Yep.
Rest in peace.
He was great in that.
Paul Bettany, probably like the movie that introduced him to a lot of people who's currently Vision right now, but he did a great job. Well, highly recommend that movie.
You know, he was Heath Ledger's hype man.
Yes.
He would walk around and hype him,
He was like the town crier for Heath Ledger, yeah.
But as some people always say, don't believe the hype. So that brings us to our review of The Green Knight. I'm going to read some stats on it, and when we come back from the stats, we'll give everybody our little warning, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So The Green Knight was actually released in the theaters July of 2021, so this past summer. Studio A24 made $17 million in the North American box office, $18 million worldwide. But it was released on Blu-ray October 12th, so just a few weeks ago. Written and directed by David Lowery, who had 27 directing credits, which included The Old Man and the Gun with Robert Redford. Did you see that movie?
No.
That's one of the movies that I watched this year during COVID, and it's actually kind of an interesting movie. Also, A Ghost Story with Casey Affleck. That's actually on our list of movies we want to watch.
Okay.
I've got that Blu-ray. And then finally, Pete's Dragon from Disney, the remake of Pete's Dragon.
Oh, the remake.
So, you know, I see the theme there with all those movies, the running theme. But he did do this one here. Starring in the movie is Dev Patel as Sir Gawain.
Which definitely was an odd choice, but...
It's an odd choice for him to play Sir Gawain, yes. But I actually think he did a good job.
Yeah.
But if you don't know Dev Patel, he is the actor that we were probably introduced to him in Slumdog Millionaire. He used to be on...
movie.
He was on the TV show The Newsroom. And he was on another movie that I want to talk about some other time with you called The Lion that I saw this year. Also in this is Alicia Vikander. She was
Ex Machina.
She was in Tomb Raider. She played Lara Croft in the
new one.
The newer,
but she was also the robot in Ex Machina. Makina.
No.
Wait, I'm mixing that up.
You are that is the girl off of Game of Thrones. Daenerys Targaryen.
But Alicia did play a robot in that one movie. I can't think of the name of it. Go ahead. I'll pull it up in a second.
Sure. While I read this, pull it up. Playing King Arthur, by the way, the credit just says The King and not King Arthur, but it's King Arthur. That is Sean Harris, who played in 2 different Mission Impossible movies and Prometheus. Also, the Queen... Oh my gosh, the Queen, who is Queen Guinevere, they don't say the Queen Guinevere. We know this actress, Katie Dickey. She played in The Witch. She also played in Game of Thrones. She was the sister to...
the redhead?
Yes.
She was Saint Winifred?
No. She was the queen of one of the southern kingdoms where... Their throne room had the big hole in the floor that they would throw people
up. Yeah, the Ravens, right? It was something to do with the...
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but yeah.
I love Game of Thrones, but I'm not a big throny, so...
Yeah.
And then also she was in Star Wars The Last Jedi.
I remember her playing
She was also in Prometheus.
That's right, she was on there, and I was correct. It was Ex Machina.
Yeah, that's not her, though.
That's Alicia Vikander.
No, it's not.
It is!
Click on that. Click on that.
Ex Machina movies. Ex Machina.
By the way, I think it's Ex Machina, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it. You're right, Ex Machina.
Okay. I'm going to debate that still, even though he pulled that up. Pull this up.
I did pull it up. Alicia Vikander movies. That is her right there.
But
all her movies are in a row. They didn't want to throw a random in there, dude.
Are you sure that's her? I thought it was somebody. I thought it was
it's not her.
Daenerys Targaryen.
No, you're thinking about that other one with the Spanish actor. I
don't know. I don't know.
Something like that.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways, a debate for another opening.
Yes.
So that is a little bit about it. The IMDb movie summary. I'll read this to you. An epic fantasy adventure based on the timeless Arthurian legend, The Green Knight, tells the story of Sir Gawain, Dev Patel, King Arthur's reckless and headstrong nephew, who embarks on a daring quest to confront the eponymous Green Knight, a gigantic emerald-skinned stranger and tester of men. Gawain contends with ghosts, giants, thieves, and schemers in what becomes a deeper journey to define his character and prove his worth in the eyes of his family and the kingdom by facing the ultimate challenger. From visionary filmmaker David Lowery comes a fresh and bold spin on a classic tale from the Knights of the Round Table. Sounds pretty good, right?
Yep, it definitely sounds good on paper.
Well, let's show everybody the trailer for this, Dane.
Against me. Indulge me in this game.
I will beat thee.
One year hence.
No, I be it.
Why do you stop me?
Me do as at hand.
What do you hope to gain from facing all of this?
Honor.
Are you ready?
So, Dane, what is our message to all of our viewers?
Well, the message that we definitely want you all to be aware of is this is going to be heavy in the spoilers. So jump ahead to the time that appears over my comrade's head right here in the future, and you'll hear the Cult Lord's grade of this particular movie. Last call. We're leaving you behind as of now. Let's go.
All right, and for those that don't want to jump, if you've already seen the movie, watch our spoiler review, or if you don't think you're going to watch this movie, stick around. All right, so
starting the movie review.
All right, so the opening scene shows Gawain waking up in a house of prostitution, where it seems he is seeing one of the girls there on a regular basis. Her name is Essel, played by Alicia Vikander.
There was a little thing at the very beginning, remember, where he looks like the Christ figure sitting in a chair, and it was all this like setup and everything.
That was a very
confusing, right? Just at the beginning,
confusing, yeah. So
yes, they're in bed.
So they're in bed. It's Christmas morning. Everyone is headed to Christmas Mass. So he gets up. He gets ready.
Missing his pants and his boots.
Yep, he gets dressed and he's going to Christmas Mass, okay?
Well, you think.
Well, he does. So Gawain heads to Mass in the castle tower, where there's a ceremony taking place in the court of the semicircle table. Now, I say that because what's the Arthurian tale about the table?
Wasn't it the U-shaped table?
Was it
the Omega?
Thing?
It was the Omega table, right?
No, was it the square table? No.
It was a Zombis table.
It was the round table.
Parallelogram table?
But they have a semicircle table. That's something I noticed right away. All right. So what's weird about this is Gawain is asked by the king to take a seat next to him and the queen during this ceremony.
Well, I think they were just having some fun, weren't they? And they were all sitting. He was just lording over the court.
So they had the ceremony, and then the ceremony's kind of over for Christmas Mass, and so now they're kind of celebrating. But it's weird that he's asking Sir Gawain to sit next to him and the queen, and Sir Gawain says, "Oh, I'm not worthy," and he goes, "No, we want you to sit here." And so he finally sits down, Dane, and King Arthur asks him he says, "Tell me about your experiences. Tell me a tale of what you have.
About you that will explain something about you to me, right?
Exactly. So Gawain ponders, and what does he come back and says?
I don't have it. I got nothing.
I got nothing. I have no tales to tell.
I got nothing.
So then the queen interrupts and says...
You find out, by the way, it's his nephew at that point. Right?
Yeah, says yet. You don't have any tales to tell. Yet. So this is like, you and I were watching
Premonition
this...
City.
Once again, we watched this movie together a few nights ago. And when she says that, we're like, wow. Talk about the biggest foreshadowing ever, right?
Right.
Oh, no tales to tell yet, Sir Gawain, right? So, very strange conversation to have concerning what's about to happen in less than 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
So, in the middle of the celebration, something dramatic happens. The doors barge open, and somebody goes out to see who it is. It's a man on a horse. Mm-hmm. And
from a distance,
from
man
a
on
distance.
a horse.
And the man
walking into the court,
down the hallway on a horse, into the throne room of the semicircle table, and he comes in, and this dramatic entrance is done by no other than the Green Knight,
which we find out really who is the Green Knight. Although they don't call him the Green Knight in the movie, but
they don't.
Later they do. But
I
not
thought
at
they
that
called him
particular
the Green
moment.
Knight. Okay,
And what is he carrying when he walks in?
He is carrying holly. Right?
Yes. Signal of peace. That's why everyone was like, oh, let's go after him. And he's like, no, I've got my holly, booze.
Yeah. Signal of peace. He puts the holly down. He comes in. He hands a letter to one of the servants who takes it over to Queen Guinevere. She opens it up, and suddenly she gets channeled by the spirit of the Green Knight himself and reads out to them a challenge that he wants to have. It's called the Game of Blows. He says that he challenges any knight in there to a game of blows. The knight will get the opportunity to use his axe and land one blow to the Green Knight. If the Green Knight can survive the blow, then the knight will need to seek him out 1 year from that day in the Green Chapel, just 6 days north of the castle. Are there any volunteers?
And keep in mind, he gets to do the exact same blow to them a year and a half later.
That's it.
Any volunteers?
so if that game was posed to you, would you take that game, that challenge? You get the first blow with the axe. You can end it all right there. And
except it wasn't with the axe.
Well, and so I'm going to get to that in a second.
Go ahead. Confusing. Go ahead.
So there are some stark differences.
With the original poem.
With the original poem and tale. Because, Dane, remember, before we saw this movie, you're like, what is this movie? And I said, I'll just give you a quick synopsis of this movie. I read this in high school. It was one of my favorite stories of all time. It really was. I had to do a report on it. And so...
A theme.
Yes. So I remember this very well, and when I read the story, I was like really just enthralled with this. But this movie decides to take some creative license and make it a little bit
lot
different.
of creative license.
A lot of creative license, okay? So in the tale, when the knight poses this challenge, King Arthur asks, is there any of my knights that will take this challenge? And he's expecting everybody to step up. And it goes around the room. Great knights.
Everyone's like,
bowing their heads, like not wanting to take this challenge.
I seem to have a problem here with my jacket.
Yeah,
hold on.
Not really wanting to do this. Don't know who this guy is. But Sir Gawain, who in the tale was already a knight, already a sir,
in the original poem.
In the original poem, steps up and says, I shall do it. Because nobody else would take the... Now, what happens in this movie, Dane...
King Arthur actually was getting ready to fight him. And Gawain,
well, no, he says, if I wasn't this old, I would jump over this table with my sword and do it myself.
And so then Gawain, after the king's... did the king ask anybody?
Yeah, he asked. He asked.
Okay. But then Gawain jumps in and says, I will do it, my lord.
Yeah, they don't even make it dramatic and show all the other knights' reactions to show that they are
really blew
being
through a lot of
cowardly about this. I mean, he just asked the question, and Gawain's like, I'll do it. And jumps up, I'll do it.
really makes no sense up to this point. I mean, the guy's been like, hanging out with his prostitute friend, really kind of like,
Right.
doesn't seem like he's living in his mom's house, who, by the way, is Morgan Le Fay, just to connect that.
Once again, another weird thing that the director and writer took creative license. In the tale, Sir Gawain is not the son of Morgan Le Fay. In the movie, Sir Gawain is the son of Morgan Le Fay, who happens to be King Arthur's sister. So that would make Sir Gawain King Arthur's nephew. Mm-hmm. That's in this movie. And I'm watching it going, what? Remember, I was like, totally that's not the way this goes.
Blowing the tail, the original Arthurian legend right out of the water.
Yeah. First of all, the casting for Morgan Le Fay and Sir Gawain was a little suspect. But now to say that's King Arthur's nephew and sister, a little strange. Mm-hmm. Willing to accept it, willing to move on because I love Dev Patel as an actor.
Right.
I'll buy it.
His mom was cool too, and they did a great job with Morgan Le Fay doing her little magic to create the invitation and all that.
Yeah. So another difference in this opening scene. So when Sir Gawain jumps the table and says, I'll take on, the knight. The knight lays down his axe and then gets on a bended knee and bows his head, allowing Sir Gawain to take the first blow. Now in the tale, Sir Gawain takes the Green Knight's axe and uses the axe. But in the movie, King Arthur says, wait a second, before you use that axe, I've got something for you to use.
Something bigger and better.
He pulls out his sword.
Let me whip this out for you.
Excuse me while I whip this out. And we all know who or what King Arthur's sword is called. Excalibur.
Excalibur.
So Sir Gawain gets to use Excalibur on the knight. So he lines up. He takes his shot.
Well, no, at first he's like, come on, man, what's happening here? You're not fighting me back. Because then the knight bows his head a little bit more, and he's like,
that's not how the game
around
works,
here,
son.
Somewhere around here, come on.
That's not how it works, son. Take your shot.
Yeah.
So Sir Gawain takes his shot. What happens?
Head cleaved right off. Bong, 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 bong. Blood everywhere.
Now in the tale, as soon as that head goes bong, 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 all the knights start cheering and raucously, and everybody's excited. Everybody's quiet in this moment. Everybody's like, oh. But you could see King Arthur was relieved, that Sir Gawain survived. He had just slayed.
Never mind, none of them were questioning, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. But then something happens, and the body of the Green Knight stands up. Now, when I'm reading this poem as a kid, I am freaking out. But the body stands up. He walks over. He picks up his head. He doesn't put it back on. He holds it out. And the head of the Green Knight starts talking. I will see you in 1 year's time at the Green Chapel. Yes. So everybody is freaked out. The Green Knight gets on his horse. Takes off. Now all the knights start applauding.
Yes, I know. Whoa! I'm glad it wasn't us.
I'm like, why are they applauding now? They should be freaked the heck out. They just saw somebody's head get cut off.
Give the hard job to the newbie.
Pick it up and walk off with it. And I'm like, what is going on? So, a lot of different, license by the director here. This is, all happening within Act 1. Now Gawain has to wait for 1 year. And during that year, you just see him in a depression, basically.
I don't know about that. Well, I think he just fell back to what he was doing in the first place.
But
whoring and supposedly going to church.
Well, but there was times where he'd be just laying in bed thinking about what he was going to have to do.
Right.
And he's freaking out.
Right. I mean, and the weird thing I found about that whole scenario was here's a guy given a great opportunity to become a knight.
Yeah.
By doing this quest. And what does he do for an entire year? Thumb up the butt. Nothing for an entire year.
Wouldn't you be training and doing stuff?
I mean,
what can I do?
You'd be like, if he had an Xbox, that's what he'd be doing for an entire year.
Yes. So Act 2 begins, where now Gawain's going to have to make his journey.
We've got a year later.
It's almost a year later. It's probably a couple of weeks away from, but he's going to make his journey. But before he leaves, his mother, the enchantress, Morgan Le Fay, has made a green sash for him. And what she is...
Magical properties.
She has imbued it with magical properties that she doesn't
Pixie
really tell
dust.
him about. She doesn't tell him what this does.
Probably bird poop and...
She just said, do not take this off. What she's imbued the sash with is whoever is wearing it cannot be struck down, right? Cannot be pierced or something like that, right?
Okay. They weren't really clear on that. It just had magical properties.
And this was also in the poem, so there was nothing new about this.
Right.
So he puts on the sash, he has his armor, he has a horse, everybody's cheering him good luck as he leaves, Camelot, right, the castle, and now he's out in the wild.
Just traveling through, great cinematography. But where, he's just going out by himself somewhere.
So
6 days north?
It's supposed to be a 6 days north ride.
6-day north ride to get to the Green Chapel.
So now his trek to the Green Chapel begins. But Dane, as IMDb synopsis tells you, his travel is filled with trials and tribulations. He encounters thieves. He encounters ghosts. He encounters giants. He encounters Fantastic Fox that wants to follow him and talk to him. So it's a journey that is,
a lot of encounters. A lot of encountering going on. Very little action.
Yeah. It actually reminded me of a book I read as a kid called Pilgrim's Progress. Did you ever read that book by John Bunyan?
Some of it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's about a journey where he faces all these trials and tribulations.
Well, it's funny that you brought that up because the original poet who wrote this Sir Gawain was a contemporary of Geoffrey Chaucer, who is Chaucer's Canterbury Tale.
Oh.
So they said they think they actually are from not the same area, but same time, but different areas. Because the pattern of the writing suggests a specific English from a certain area. So
nice.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So Dane, what did you think about all of these things he had to face?
Well, again, we talked about this in the previous movie. The MC, and this is a movie, let's be honest here, we're not reading a poem. We're coming in here under the premise that this is a movie, thus it should be following the normal tenets of great movies. The MC should be driving the action forward, and as we just touched on here, he's just encountering things. Yeah, he's going to go to the Green Chapel, but, he's going through the field. Oh, there's a guy friendly. Where do you want me to help you out? And you're like, what? Who is this guy that he doesn't even be worried about it? He's by himself in the middle of a forest in a giant former battlefield.
And it's funny because everybody he encounters wants something from him, right? Remember, the thief said, "Oh, I just helped you with the directions. What are you going to give me? What is that worth to you?" Right.
Right.
So he gives him a coin. So then, there's some interactions with the thieves. The thief takes his stuff.
And that scene alone was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're a knight?
Or wanting to be a knight.
And you're going to be doing this 6-day travel where you're going to encounter random people that, of course, at that time, medieval ages.
Right.
Everywhere, people stayed in castles, vicinity of castles for a reason. That's where all the security was. You go out there, you're running into what they call the brigands.
Yep. So then,
basically 3 kids take him down in the woods.
3 kids take him in the woods.
And then he's tied up. Yeah, tie him up, steal his stuff, break his crap, and then
he gets away. And we won't reveal every little thing about this, but he gets away. So now he's trekking through the forest, following a creek. Supposedly the Green Chapel's this way. He comes across a house, out in the middle of nowhere.
He's really tired.
He's very tired. He goes in. He calls out. And by the way, the interesting thing that the director does is in between all the scenes, he actually puts cut scenes. We are doing in between our acts. We did it in episode 1. We were doing it here.
Well, he puts over text. Yeah, he doesn't actually cut the scene.
Well, he didn't cut the scene, but he puts kind of text filler to tell you what the next scene is about. Mm-hmm. So the next, he's at this house. He goes in and he finds a bed. He falls asleep.
Nice dusty bed.
And he wakes up.
So tired.
He wakes up to a voice of a girl saying, "What are you doing in my bed?" you know, and we were kind of like
And that actress, the redhead, she was in also, if anyone watched the Winter Soldier movie, she was the head of the terrorist organization, what is it, the Black Hand or something like that?
No, not the Black Hand.
What were they called?
I don't know. I don't remember what they were.
But yeah, and so...
Yeah, but she says, I if you're going to stay in my bed, you have to do something for me. And he's like, what do you need? She says, I need you to retrieve my head.
Seems to be a repeating theme here.
She needed her head.
And that's Saint Winifred.
Saint Winifred.
And by the way, coincidentally, November 3rd is the feast of Saint Winifred.
Oh, nice.
Coming up.
So Sir Gawain goes out. There's a huge pond there. She says, my head is there. He realizes
that she's a ghost.
She's a ghost.
Right.
So he jumps in the water.
Jumps into the pond. Somehow can see, for one thing.
Well, first of all, it's a cavernous pond.
Right. The pond just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. But he finds her skull at the bottom. He finds her skull
at the bottom.
He brings it up to give to her, and she's not there. So he goes back into the house.
If I was him, I'd be like, what the...
Well, here was the moment. He had fallen asleep in this bed. He goes up to the bed, and her entire skeletal body is there, minus her head.
Right.
That he was just sleeping in.
I mean, he was all like, oh, this bony body sure is cuddly.
So he places the head there. He places the head there, and...
Nothing happens. Oh, well, no. The axe appears.
Oh, that's right. So,
which makes no sense.
Yeah, so the axe that was stolen from him by the thief that belonged to the Green Knight appears. And he takes the axe and he walks out. So now he moves on. Mm-hmm. He encounters giants.
After his hallucinations with the mushrooms, so you're like, is this part of the poem? I mean, because I didn't know the poem, original story. I'm like, were there giants in this? And then I know there's some places up in northern Scotland, which looks like where they film most of it, called like the Giant Steps. Yeah. Where it looks, people have supposedly thought giants lived there because of the rock formations. But it was just like the strangest thing ever. And the fox, forgot about the fox.
You know what they Scotch call those rock formations?
What?
Whiskey stones. I don't know. All right, so...
Much bigger than these little puppies, though.
Butterscotch. So anyways, so he sees the giants. He then makes his way to, there's like there's like a manor he comes across. Now, here's
fancy manor.
Here's where I want to talk to you a little bit about Dane, because... Remember I said this act, as we begin Act 3, is a little bit fuzzy to me as far as what happened in the story that I read as a kid. I remember how it ends.
It's all very confusing.
But there was a gray area that as I started watching it, it started coming back to me, okay?
Okay.
So, after facing all these obstacles, he comes to this manor in the woods. He enters this manor and starts calling out, only to find it's occupied by a lord of no name. So, in the IMDb credits, the guy who plays it, Joel Edgerton, it just says he plays Lord. The Lord.
In the poem, it's Lord Bertilac.
Is it? Okay.
And that's what our famous lady gave us for our drinks.
The
Cheers!
Bertilacs. All right. Cheers.
Lady Bertilac.
So, there's also a third person. An old woman who's blindfolded.
Yes. No explanation for that one.
All right. So,
go ahead. The movie sure didn't explain it. Go ahead.
So, the movie didn't explain it. In the poem, I went back and checked. That lady was Morgana Le Fay in disguise, and she was not his mother but she was making sure that Arthur's knights were following the quest. She was there to spy on him, basically.
As her son. So
no. Not in the poem, or not in the movie. In the poem, that's what she was doing. So in the movie, I don't think that was Morgana Le Fay.
Well, I think that's a whole other thing. I think they took so many artistic license with a lot of things. There's like this laid on this, and I think it was Morgana Le Fay. Now that we talked about it a little bit, but
I don't know. But
because unless you know who it was, it seems mighty strange.
Well, that is true. So now the Lord seems to already know about his quest and says that it's just that it's 4 days to Christmas, but he can make it to the Green
needed the
Chapel in
coconuts.
just about 2 hours, right? So he says, so why don't you just stay here with me, and you can rest, relax, eat, and just get ready for the rest of your quest, and because it's only just right up
Right,
the road.
because he's in such a hurry to get there.
Right.
He's so enthusiastic. Like, all right, I'll hang out with you a few days, even though I'm really close.
So now here's something, Dane. The movie does not do a very good job of explaining where
Who this guy is?
in the tales. Yeah. So one of the things, if you remember, he says, I am going to go out hunting every day while you're here. And whatever I kill, I will give you as a spoil. And in turn, what I want you to give to me, once again, everybody's asking him for something. What I want you to give
Guy's
to
a
me
good man.
is I want you to give to me whatever you receive as
Gain
a gift.
a gift in the house. Gain in the house.
Gain in the house. And so we were like, okay. And Gawain's like, I don't really understand
Okay,
this either.
I guess I get a drink in the house?
Right,
But you're
right.
going to give me all your hunting goods?
So, yeah.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, he's a little confused by this. So, but every night, the lady, what's her name? Lady who?
Lady Bertilek?
Bertilek appears to Sir Gawain. Well, I shouldn't say Sir. He's not a knight. She appears to Gawain in his room to talk to him and to try to seduce him, basically. And
Which seems on and off for some reason.
But he keeps kind of pushing back her advances. But she says, well, if we're not going to do that, we must at least have a kiss, right?
Right.
So they kiss, right? Okay. So cut a little bit forward when Gawain finally decides to go to the Citadel. It's Christmas morning.
Wow.
And he encounters the Lord, right?
Yeah.
The Lord says, I've just killed something for you. It's a big boar.
What looks like almost like a furry mastodon. That
Yeah, it
thing
was
was
huge.
gigantic.
But it was a boar.
It was a boar, okay.
And then, do you remember, we were confused because he rode up to Sir Gawain and he kissed him on the lips.
I almost think Sir Gawain was knew. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. Bertilek, the Lord, went down and kissed him like he was expecting it. And then Gawain steps away well, hold on a second here, what's going on? But it was almost like he knew that he was getting some smoochies in the castle. And then he was expecting it, and Gawain's like, hold on a second. But anyways, go ahead. This is why we were confused.
We were confused with this. But when I went back and studied what was in the poem and the story, so what happened was, on day one, when Gawain goes out, and the Lord says, what have you gained within my castle? Mm-hmm. He says, nothing but a kiss. So then he kisses the Lord. And then on the second day, after the lady kissed him, he says, what have you gained in my castle? And Sir Gawain says, nothing but a kiss, and kissed him 2 times. And then on the final day, he kissed him 3 times. So
that's in the poem.
That's in the poem.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
So, but he explains that, in the poem. And
in the movie, it just comes out of nowhere. You're like, is this this Lord got the? Because there was a lot of weird things that happened in the castle. You're kind of like, is the Lord coming on to him?
It was.
And then
strange.
it ends on that where he's ready to give him a big smooch on the lips, and
Yeah.
Gawain's like, hold on a second, I didn't sign up for this side of the castle bed. I mean, it was very strange.
So as soon as Gawain in the movie gets this kiss, he's running. He's hightailing it to the chapel. He's I don't know what's going on here.
And never mind, you skipped a part there about the sash.
Oh.
Because he's had the sash on the whole time. Oh, no, he gives the sash to the lady.
He had the sash stolen by the thief.
Oh, right.
And then he noticed that the lady had the sash.
That's
and
right.
The sash,
she had it.
She gives the sash back to
Gawain. Not directly gave it back to him.
Well, we won't discuss that.
We won't go into that part.
For that part. All right.
Let's just say somebody was very handy with their lady. There
was a lot of cantina music.
Yes, there was a lot of cantina music. Sweet cantina music.
So yeah, you have to watch that. So Gawain hightails it to the Green Chapel. he's going to get to the Green Knight. He's going to honor,
Stumble through the woods in the water, going very slowly.
Yeah.
Somehow, where the heck did that carved out wood canoe come from?
I don't know. I'm going to skip over Fantastic Fox talking to him.
Oh, right. We completely forgot about the fox.
Yeah. We
It's a
don't need
whole
to talk
other
about
odd thing about a fox following him. And some strange reason, you were like, is the fox there because he's feeding him? And then you get a sense, is the fox there to lead him? And then the fox starts talking and warning him away. So you're like...
Says, no one will know if you run away. No one will know. You should...
Right. Is it tempting him? Is it warning him? I mean, and then it starts having a hallucination about the giant naked giants.
I don't know.
Which made I was like, where are they going somewhere? Is he going to get a quick ride?
He was like, choo-choo, woo-hoo-hoo, or whatever.
Yeah, that was weird. If there was a moral tale here, don't eat random mushrooms you find in the woods.
So when Gawain gets to the Green Chapel, the knight is asleep. The Green Knight is
intertwined with vines.
Yeah, because
he's obviously not moved for a year, kind of thing.
Yeah, he looks half man, half tree, basically. And so Sir Gawain walks up to the sleeping knight, and he lays the axe down. And it must have been Christmas Eve because it's nighttime. So Gawain takes several steps back. He gets down, squats, and he just waits. And the knight goes, the knight wakes up in the middle of the night, takes a little peek
Somehow
at him.
he sleeps sitting up,
He takes a little peek at Sir Gawain, goes back to sleep. Morning comes.
Oh, you're skipping the part about the only real CGI, because I read that they did not want to do CGI with the knight, so it's all prosthetics.
Okay.
That one particular scene, did you notice that the guy's face flashed through all the people that the knight Gawain had seen up to that point?
Yes, I did notice that. I did notice that.
Very subtle.
I did notice that his face was changing because I thought something else was going to happen, which I'm going to get to in a second. Because remember, as we were watching it together, I go, "Oh, dang, this is starting to come back to me. This is starting to come back to me how this ends, right?" And so, I'll get to that in a second. So the knight wakes up. It's Christmas morning. He's like, "Oh, I see you've come, to take the blow, right?" And so
to get your whooping.
Yep. So the knight is impressed with that. He says he's surprised to see him, but it's now his turn to take the blow. So Gawain kneels and extends his neck. The Green Knight raises his axe and is about to strike. And then what happens? Gawain flinches.
That's right. He's all ready to do it.
And then he flinches. Goes, whoa. So the knight stops.
Hold on a second. I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah. So Gawain's like, I don't know. Does it have to be this way or something like that? So they have a little talk, and then so Gawain goes back again. And so now the knight is extending it again. They repeat this 2 more times where Gawain flinches before Gawain simply just runs off. To save his life. And then
there was a hallucination or a vision, remember?
No, this comes afterwards.
Was that after? I thought it was during one of those. Like he gets reminded about something.
No. It comes after. So what happens is he returns to Camelot. He finds his horse there. Just amazing.
Yeah, his horse is just hanging out.
Yeah, so he's escaped the Green Knight. He didn't uphold his bargain and take the blow. So he returns to the king, and everybody was happy to see him as he came in. But when he gets there, the king is gravely ill. He's on his deathbed, if you will. And just before he dies, he actually takes out Excalibur and he knights Sir Gawain, now Sir Gawain,
yeah.
And then makes him the king. And then he dies. The king dies.
They disappear.
Yeah.
So what were they? Some kind of spirit creatures, like out of LL?
Because I said
Lord
he died,
of the Rings.
I said he died the same way Yoda did. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, here you go. You're gonna combine in multi-universe.
So now we go to this big montage of cutscenes, and what do you see? You see his former lover Essel, the prostitute, is having his baby. The king's people are there, and they take the baby away. And the pain in Essel's
Merlin, by the way, takes the baby away.
the baby. Yeah, plays a very small role in this. Merlin
Probably
does.
the best role in the movie.
Yep. So there's pain in Essel's eye to see that Sir Gawain has now changed because he's the king, right? So he doesn't even acknowledge her anymore. Another cutscene. A new lady is presented to him, and he is married, and that marriage is arranged. So time is going by. He's getting a little bit gray. Battles are being fought and apparently being lost because when he comes back to the city, the common people are throwing food at him,
poop at him,
turning against him,
And his son got killed.
Yeah, his
the original son.
Yes, I'm going to get to that. So in another battle scene, he's in a medical tent, you know what I mean? And his best men are dying, including his son. So he loses his son from Essel.
Not the new queen's son.
So finally, after all of these cutscenes, you see him in his throne room, sitting alone.
Right.
Nobody's in the throne room except him. It looks dusty. It looks
mopey,
disheveled in there.
Well, it's because of all the battlements going on. There was like cannons, and so the castle's shaking, and he's still... I got to give it to those people for just hanging out by him there. I mean, he's just sitting there like, woe is me, and then finally they're like, maybe we should go.
So what happens? He's sitting by himself, and suddenly his head falls off. He's decapitated, and his head rolls, right? And you're like, what? What's happening here?
And isn't there a scene where...
Well, this is the part, right after that happens, they focus in on the head, and then you go back to the scene of Sir Gawain back at the Green Chapel. He's bending over. He has just had all of these visions of what will happen if he returns and doesn't take this blow. The Green Knight is still standing above him, saying, "Are you ready to take your blow?"
Him.
Yeah, and Sir Gawain says, "Yes, but before I take that blow," he takes off the green sash.
Right. Well, he pulls it out of like what I thought was maybe like a
scabbard.
No, to me it looked like the spear in the side, like a Christ moment. The way he pulled that out, it was very... I'm just saying, the way it looked on camera...
It looked like a belt loop, and he was pulling it out.
Well, maybe. I just kind of thought... Well, because he was like reaching in like this, like it was right... It was just way coincidental right there. Because the whole time, like, why wouldn't he pull it over here? He's pulling it out of like here.
I'll have to go back and look at that scene.
Yeah, it's just very odd, some of these scenes.
So he takes the sash off, knowing that this was his protection. And it looks like what he's doing is
fall back in case something seriously happened with his head.
It looks like he's making the decision. I'm just going to go with it and let him kill me, right?
Right. He's just resolved to it now.
Like, so what happens?
Or he has courage finally. I'm not sure. Courage. One of the two.
So then the Green Knight bends over and he puts his hand delicately on Gawain's face and he says, "Now you are a knight. I'm very proud of you," or
Doesn't
something
he
like that.
Go like this? Doesn't he do like a little bit of a snip?
No, it's more on his cheek. I went back and
almost
watched
like he was like, "Yeah, you're a knight now."
He's like, "Yeah, I'm very impressed."
Let me get that little food off your thing, you know.
And then he ponders for a moment, and then the last thing he says is, "Now off with your head!" And we cut to the end scene, and it is actually like a credit scene, and it just says "The Green Knight."
Yeah.
And that's how it ends. Now, Dane?
Yes?
In the tale... Sorry, a little parched. In the tale, how it ends is the Green Knight, once he sees the bravery by Sir Gawain, he decides to spare him. And he turns into the Lord of the castle. The Lord was the Green Knight the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah. In the
so wait a minute, when did that happen? When did that happen? When he changed back? When did that happen?
So he changes back to him.
Oh, you mean in the poem?
In the poem.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So what the director did was he didn't take that happy ending. He just ended it with, "Now off with your head." And then he leaves the audience wondering, did he do it? Or did he not do it? Mm-hmm. Right? It's really up to you. Do you think he really took his head off? Or do you think he spared him?
Well, I mean, personally, I didn't think Gawain was, I mean, a very, great person to become a knight. I mean, they didn't really set any of that tone, because this whole time, I mean, he's very, laid back, very, I don't know what I'm going to do, woe is me. He's not really oh, okay, it's a year later, God, I'm going to have to go out there and finally get up there, or just to fulfill what was my quest to become a knight in the first place, because I'm still not a knight. It's a whole year later. What happened here, Arthur? You gave me your sword. You're my uncle. Come on, hey.
I think the way that the director ended it, with not showing what really happened, and if for anybody who knows what the poem is, you know that he spares them. But they made it ambiguous of what happened. And, we've seen this type of device before in movies.
Right.
Like Christopher Nolan, for example. One example, Inception. The movie ends where Leonardo DiCaprio spins his little top.
You can spoil it for anybody here?
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're in the spoiler reviews anyways. So he spins his top, and it ends with you not knowing if that thing stopped or not.
So you don't know if it's in the virtual world or the real world.
Right.
Right.
And it's left up to the audience
to figure out.
To try to figure
did
it
he
out.
chop his head off?
Did he chop his head off?
I would say, since we're answering that question, I don't think he did, because it doesn't seem like kind of knight. He saw what was going on. He saw the visions, obviously.
Yep.
And then he realized that, you pulled this out, so you made the right decision. The honor has been, you've stuck to your guns, and now you've got your honor, so nope, I'm not going to do that.
Well, so...
What did you think?
We don't know.
Based on the movie, not on the poem. Can you separate your mind?
Yeah, I think in the poem we know he's spared, but in this movie, the way the director has decided to take artistic license and be creative, I think he took his head. And, I think that's it. So Dane, when we think about our thoughts, first of all, let me tell you what Rotten Scores has this at. Okay.
Okay.
So Rotten Scores, the critics,
Rotten Tomatoes.
What did I say?
Rotten Scores.
Rotten Scores.
We should start that. Trademark Rotten Scores.
Trademark Rotten Scores. That's ours. All right. Rotten Tomatoes score. The critics gave it an 89% score, fresh.
Okay.
Once again, look at this.
Another fresh?
A fresh Rotten Tomatoes rating on the cover.
Okay.
All right. They gave it 89%.
And this is the critics.
This is the critics.
Okay.
The audience score was 50%.
Okay.
So one of the things I wanted to say real quick, and I think I know why the audience gave it a low score. As we were watching this, we kept saying this is a very slow plotting movie, right? Not everybody is going to enjoy the pace of this film.
A lot of talking, slow
shots,
drawn out shots.
Yeah, a lot of slow dialogue.
It's like I see the guy on the horse walking through the great landscape. Why do I have to keep seeing it?
But see, not everybody in this high-paced world enjoys slow, drawn-out movies. I can enjoy a movie like this. But we were saying our kids would never love this. They would
forget it.
They're
it's definitely an art house
attention
movie.
span would be like, okay, I got to see something.
Art house movie.
Yeah, I need a John Wick movie where everything's just going, right? So, so I'm just curious, Dane. Do you see any room where you could have improved this movie?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's right here on the cover. What does this cover show you? What do you get from this cover? What do you think is going to happen when you see that cover?
He's triumphant.
He's triumphant.
Yeah.
I've vanquished.
I've
done battle.
The Green Knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen in the movie?
Never.
No.
Nowhere.
This is like to sell this off as like an Arthurian tale and have very little blood and guts, no battle. I mean, the Gawain figure, I mean, I know that, we're going back to the superhero mythos and everything, but what happened? The guy, he was just following, a set path.
Right.
Which I know old poems, I mean, you had talked about, what would you say earlier, the Chaucer poem, the Everyman poem, they call that episodic, where they're just going in and like reacting to situations. And in this case, he, again, same problem, not driving the movie forward.
Right.
It's like Wayne almost had no motivation except I have to go somewhere.
Right.
Oh, by the way, you know, there was some thieves capturing me in the woods.
Right.
Please don't hurt me, young kids that seem... you notice they had to put Dev Patel on his knees because those kids would have been like way below. He would have been towering because he's a tall dude.
Yeah, he was a coward.
Oh,
basically.
I know. He was like that the whole time.
And he didn't fight for anything in that. So, the director's, license, creative license here, I think he took it in wrong directions because,
I read it took a long time for this screenplay to get written. It took like the guy to write it 5 years, something like that.
Were you ever cheering on Sir Gawain in this? Did you care about him?
No, the irony is that the movie started and he looks like a good, funny guy. He's hanging out with his, the prostitute or, his friend. And then you find out he's a nobleman. So he's hanging out with her. He's being friendly with her. They obviously have a great relationship, how that part is. So you kind of think, well, that's where this is going, that somehow she's going to get pulled along with him, like as his squire. Mm-hmm. So they set that up, but of course, never happens. And then the only time other time you feel like, oh, you get into his character is when he's at that weird pub, which I think is before he goes on his, I got to get to the, the end of the year. Right. And the guy comes in when he's like, oh, Gawain, he's like, go on. Yeah. And he says, your mom is a witch.
Yep.
And it's the only time he gets into a fist fight. Yeah. It's the only time he fights in the entire movie. Yeah. It was like, where did this all go?
This is a guy who wants to be a knight.
I know.
And so...
you never see him training. You never see a joust. Yeah. You never see, Monty Python... in all his glory, had more blood and guts than this movie did.
Oh. Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
It was just flesh wounds, though. But there was a lot that could have been done.
Oh, it could have been so much different, and especially it was, to your point, it was like layer on layer of different parts of like different stories. There's the original one which you've been talking about, but it seems like the director or the story writer, the screenwriter threw in his own stuff from other sources to kind of like mix things together to kind of present this great artistic tapestry of look what I did. Right. But in this particular case, they had artistry trump
the story.
The story.
So
but it was like,
you know what? So for me, this is an extreme rarity. I am not a book reader. I don't read books. So when people who are book readers go and see Ender's Game and they're like, "Oh, the movie was horrible compared to the book," right? So it was good. I'm just telling you.
I read the book too. But anyways, go ahead.
I don't read books, so like I almost never have that problem. I go see the movie. This is my first interaction with it, right? But for once, I had read this story before the movie, so now I can understand a little disappointment people have who read the book. They're like the Game of Thrones. People who read Game of Thrones are like, oh, they didn't even go into this, they didn't go into that. You know what I mean? So I felt the same way watching this movie because I had perceived outcomes that I wanted to see, and they weren't happening.
I know. So. You basically wanted to pull the knife out and say, Gawain, wake up. You got a sword. Use it, please.
So, you know what? I think it's probably time for us to do our ratings and pull the people who are skipping the spoiler review. Let's pull them in.
All right, everybody, we're back to the extremely serious moment where we reveal our cult lord grade. Everyone, come back now. Come back down. Come back now.
All right, and now that you're back, I'd like to remind you that we are giving away a copy of The Green Knight on Blu-ray. That's right. The way to win this is to comment on this video, and if you do that by Friday, November the 12th, we will pick all of the names, put them into a raffle wheel.
Raffle wheel.
Spin that wheel on camera so we can see who won. And the winner, we will contact you and send you a copy of The Green Knight so you can watch it and cherish it and handle it any way you want to.
That's right. White glove treatment.
Yes, yes. So now, Dana, it is our quest, the end of our quest, to put in our ratings. Now, I just want to remind everybody that Dana and I did see this movie together a few nights ago.
Yeah.
We have not talked about this movie until this show. We have not
No
seen...
pre-discussion.
No pre-discussion.
No,
we don't know what
hinting
each
at
other's
where we are.
gonna rate it. We don't know what we're gonna rate it, so this is gonna be the first time that we see this. So are we ready for the reveal?
We are.
All
Reveal
right.
time!
All right.
Okay, here we go.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Ooh.
I went low. You went 7.5 and I got 5.2.
Wow, that's really low, Dave.
I went low.
Yeah. Wow. I guess I liked it a little bit better than you did.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, there was still recommendations, which we won't get into, that we would make to make it a little bit better. But I still was entertained. And, you know, I'm not quite as high as the Rotten Tomatoes critics at 89% score, but I am better than the audience score of 50%, which I think you're down there with the audience.
I was there definitely with the audience.
All right.
Not happy about that, but...
Well, I still say...
I agree with the audience. He agrees with those art house critics.
No, not quite as much, but, you know. Well, that ends our quest for the holy review of The Green Knight. Thanks again for watching another episode of Cult Lords. And as I said in last episode, episode 1, I'll say it again. We're just beginning at this. We will get better. I promise.
He promises!
I promise.
But again, please subscribe to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all the social media. We love comments. We will answer them as fast as possible.
Yeah. And, you know, I know Dana is off to renew his Medieval Time season subscription, right?
Close!
So thanks again, you cult followers. We'll see you next time.